Hello, everyone. People are being notified of my live right now. And as always, I want to give a huge thank you to my Patreons. There are courses, there are ghost tours on there, and there are workshops live with me on there. Please go check it out. I'm so excited to be able to offer these things to you because I know my reading schedule is pretty well booked out at this point. So I want to be able to help however I can. All right. And people are starting to join. Hi, it's been a little while. Okay, I'm curious, where are people viewing from? Because I know some of you are new. I love seeing where people are from. So let me know. I'm just getting started. Let's see. New Jersey, Australia, North Carolina, hey, Texas, hi, Nevada, Wisconsin, Mexico, Seattle. You haven't caught a live? Yeah, welcome. Memphis, Tennessee, hello, Texas. Southern Georgia. Yeah, there are a lot of folks from Texas in my online community group, which you can learn more about that on Patreon. But Key West, Pennsylvania, hi. Olympia, Key West again, New Jersey, hello. I am just going to be cleaning off some of my stones because they are out here. And I saw San Francisco, cool, Minnesota. These are what I use for my stone dowsing. I don't often show them, not by intention, but yeah. Oh, I saw UK, Ohio, Rhode Island, Virginia, cool. You passed the Cape Fear River today, yeah. One of my favorite rivers. She's a good one. Charlotte, yeah, you're not far at all. New Hampshire, cool. Yeah, that is a hair clip. So I say stones broadly because these are all things that I've collected over time or have found me over time. So, Oregon, cool. And yeah, I have different things. I have a dye, I have sea glass, I have a brick that I found while mudlarking. And mudlarking is super cool. It's when you sort through the mud in really old trash areas, such as this was from an 18th century port. And they used to throw their trash off of the dock. So when the tide is low, you can go out there and find 18th century trash. New Jersey, cool. More from Texas, hello. I also have water that was gifted to me by a friend. Sapphire, if you're watching, hi, congratulations on your new job working. I won't give all your information away, but I'm excited about that. Yeah, I have storm water, I have little other pieces, I have nails and that kind of thing. All of these mean different things to me, and they just allow my brain to focus. I've always said that tarot cards and oracle cards, I've never felt called to those. I was in the process for a little while of creating a set for myself that was based off of hobo symbols. I was actually working with the Wilmington Railroad Museum on that. And then I started doing this. It's actually a practice that's similar to a variety of different cultures across the world, and many of them are super old. But some people call it throwing bones. Oh, thank you for the roses, Mandy. Some people call it, like some throw runes, that kind of thing. These, I don't throw them, but I use clairsentience to pull them. I basically connect with a person's energy, and then the spirit uses my hand as a claw machine, and I don't work the levers. I ask a question and then drop. Now, that being said, I do not do readings on lives. There are way too many of you, and that's a lot of energy to try and sort through. So I know some people do that. I do not feel comfortable doing that, but I do that on an individual scale, because I'm able to make sure that I'm tapping into an individual's energy rather than potentially tapping into 3 people at once and giving something that is less correct than just being able to tap to one person at a time. But the reason why I'm in here, I want to be in my reader's tent because I just redid it. And yes, I do readings from a tent because it makes me happy. Do the things that make you happy. That's what I do. So, but yeah, I just want to give these a quick spritz after readings today. Woo, words. Anywho. Oh my God, hi. This is from Hiccup. Hey, from Jacksonville, what's up? Hello, fellow North Carolinians and East Coasters. I will say that too. Oh, goodness, you missed it. Yeah. Goodness, I hope we can talk again. First time seeing me live. Yay! Hello from Illinois. Hello. I typically don't ask for likes during a live, but TikTok hasn't particularly liked me recently, so if anybody wants to throw some likes, I would certainly appreciate it. Thank you for all the comments. I super appreciate that. I've noticed that my informational content thank you for the likes. My informational content tends to not get put out there as far as my reenactment skits. And I love putting out reenactment skits. For a long time, I was only putting out reenactment skits, but then people started asking questions, and I was like, well, I have some answers. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you, Victoria. And thank you for the likes. I really appreciate that. From Wisconsin, hello. And I wanted to make the informational content. I know my Patreons, they wanted informational content, so I'm answering a lot of questions from Patreon. They're going to be coming out in the next few weeks. But all of this week will be reenactments from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And if you want to watch that live, it's been up since like March, June, so you have to kind of search through a little bit. But it is there. You will see the thumbnail. You'll see me and Kat, who's Spooktastics, as well as Alex. And we went there. So anywho, yes, thank you. You watch my FAQ list or playlist all the time. Thank you for doing that. Hi from PA. Let's see, North Adams, MA. Hi, everybody. I should visit there. I have not visited there before. Would love to do that. From Miami, hi. Yay, okay, so for one of you, I'm seeing you next month. Yay! I didn't see who you were, and I can't reach, goodness. I'm gonna try to reach, but yeah, I look forward to seeing you next month. From New Jersey, hi. Brazil, hello. Cool. Gettysburg was interesting. I had a lot of feelings about Gettysburg, and those will be coming out more so in my reenactments. Waiting to post reenactments is really good for my head because it allows me to process what happened. Like, I write down what happened pretty quickly, but it allows me to process what happened so that I can share what I feel is most important to share. And that's usually a 4 to 6 month wait on reenactments. What am I doing? I am cleansing off pieces from today's readings. I usually do a quick spritz in between readings, but basically this is a quick spritz cleanse right here. Sure, you could use water, holy water, moon water, whatever. I really like how the smoke covers things, and it's really just a great visualization for me. This is Egyptian jasmine. It smells delightful. And what's great is my tent smells delightful, and then when I get out of here, I will smell delightful. You honeymooned in Gettysburg. Oh my goodness. I don't think I could do that. Way too much going on. Way too much. Hello, Indiana. You just got your keychain and bracelet. Yay! Yeah, for anybody who is unfamiliar, Lala Lotus and I are teaming up to make jewelry. The last live that I did was on that, and you can learn all about the pieces and all about her and her business. She is a woman entrepreneur, similar to myself, and I have just so much enjoyed working with her. So if you want to see the pieces that have been created from our partnership, you can check those out on that live, and of course it's linked in my bio as well under merch. So cool. Thank you for the gifts, and thank you all for the likes. Thank you so much. What is the dice for? Okay, great question. So the dice, or the die, this was something that was made for me as a Christmas present years ago by Jay. And if any of you are more interested in what Jay does, my partner, you can check that out on my website as well. He offers readings, and he offers readings, what he calls work-ins with a capital W, and what he also is going to be creating some things, which I will let him explain at some point. We're going to go live together likely this month, so you can ask him then, but he is an Appalachian folk practitioner, which is a unique sort of thing. yeah, yes, you should build your own little fort. I highly recommend it. I don't know why only children are okay to build forts. Always build forts. I built mine with tapestries, and I feel very happy here. I'm a small person, and I like to be in small spaces. And can I tell you, watching movies in here is wonderful. I think everybody should have a space in their life that is entirely theirs and feels clean and nice. And this is my space. It is just for me, and whenever I'm super stressed out on anything that's going on in the world, I know I can come in here and at least be in my own thought, being my own presence. But anyway, this die. So I remember this year, or the year that he gave me this for Christmas, we were both so strapped for cash. We had just started a new business. Thank you for the gifts, Mandy. And he made this as a lucky die, and he set it up, and I decided what the numbers meant for myself, and I know, thank you for the likes, I so appreciate it, thank you so much. But I love that. I love it when people make gifts or that they have special meaning to them, and he shared that with me. And he put a lot of juju in it, as he says, or woo-woo, as we also say it down here. And yeah, I have meanings or things that mean something to me, and if I'm going to pull it for, let's say I'm doing a guide reading and, close my eyes. Thank you, Saltwave Spanish Moss. I can't wait to see you in February. I'm so excited. Get ready for those lives because they're coming. I'm so excited for that. That'll be in Savannah, Georgia, everybody. So follow along. Also follow Saltwave Spanish Moss because obviously. But basically, if I were to do that, as I said, I let my folks and their folks work together to work the lever, and I use my hand as a claw machine. It's through clairsentience that my hand will drop on something. And so if it drops on the die, I don't typically roll it because it's a bit much. But what I'll do is I have my eyes closed. I don't necessarily feel what the number is. I just sort of let it fall on something. And what's so funny is when I'm connected with me, I most likely get a 1. That was the one that was up. But that also has individual meaning as well, especially if pulled for a guide or if pulled for a person, because I also do readings on individuals, like psychic readings, messages that they may want, that sort of thing. And for anybody who might be like, I want a reading right now, I do not do them on lives because we have over 300 people in this live, and that's a lot of energy. So I am not going to do that, because if I'm reading for somebody individual, I want to be absolutely sure that I'm connected with their specific energy. Some psychics do that. I am not at that place, and I think it's totally fine. I am now at a place where I can say that. I used to be like, oh no, am I not good enough because they can do that and I can't? I'm different. Congratulations, we're all different. I specialize in different things from other people and vice versa. So that's been a journey of mine. Thank you, Chai. I think it was Chai Doll. Thank you. So yeah, all things about sessions, different kinds of sessions, and all of that is on my website. I also have a group of fellow practitioners just because I'm booked out a ways. I am certainly not the only one who has this psychic connection, and I always encourage people to find their own connections. And I wanted to offer as much as I could, even if I couldn't do it myself. So check that out. It's under the practitioners page. So yeah, thanks for all the love. Thank you. Yes. So cool. Any other questions while I'm looking at it? Yay. Okay. I'm meeting you in February too. Yay. Cool. I love that. Yeah, it's wild. I was not expecting to get this booked out. I typically don't even talk about my consults as much anymore. It's a rarity that I am now, and that's just sort of I'm doing that, but also I am going to be doing pre-recorded courses on Patreon, as well as live workshops at a highly affordable rate, because I know times are tough for everybody right now. So I'm putting in a lot of work, and I know I could charge more for it, but I'm really going to be trusting crowdfunding on this one. I know how much money I need in order to get through and make sure everything's covered, and that I'm still able to, accrue savings for emergencies and that sort of thing. So I wanted to offer something that's more immediate on a monthly basis rather than having to wait. For some, the wait is 6 to 8 months to get a consult with me. So yeah. But thanks for all the kindness. Yay, that makes me very happy. Somebody asked, how am I? I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Let's see, I'm going through. Is energy in the tent? Wait. Is the energy different in the tent as opposed to a brick and mortar dwelling? So technically I am in a house right now. It is a wooden house. And really, I don't need a tent to read. Like, I think that's the important thing. I just like it because it's cozy and I don't have a lot of like sensory overload everywhere. It's easier for me to not be like, oh man, that thing on my calendar, I need to do that. So it's really for my sanity and my comfort, but I've certainly been about and around and that sort of thing and been able to do readings, and it's fine. Something that my spirit guide, she was talking to me the other day as I was doing my routine of, I was, putting my scarf on. I have a little scarf that in some practices, it's like a form of veiling where you like cover the highest part of your head. And I was doing that, and I was getting my go-to jewelry on and, doing my cleansing processes, and all the while my guide rolls in and she's like, you don't have to do any of that. And I was like, yeah, but it makes me feel good. And she says, I mean, I guess, but all of that's unnecessary. And I was just like, I know, but it makes me feel good. Because I am living a human experience, and sometimes little patterns like that are super beneficial. And she gets that, but she was just like, so I think it's important to note, and I said this when I was talking about the jewelry that I'm collabing with Lala Lotus on to sell. It is an extension of you. All of this is an extension of me and the connection that I have with who I'm connecting to at the time. Though sometimes when I do readings, I just sit there and start. So yeah, I always say, do what makes you comfortable, do what makes you feel connected, and that's entirely valid. And yes, my spirit guide is correct. I don't need to do that, but it just makes me feel better. So, and she understood. Anyway, I am rolling down. Okay, cool. But yeah, as far as the tent, it's a space that I can supercharge. That's not my entire house. And granted, the energy that it takes for space and that sort of thing can vary. Like, it's kind of in our heads how much energy we have to use. It's kind of like the Force, when it's just like, yeah, I'm talking about Star Wars here. It's very, very aligned. Some of it anyway. But the Force, the concept is, it doesn't matter how big or small an object is, you can move it. It's similarly with energetic protection, length, time, that sort of thing. That's why if you follow Liker of Words, who I've been live on here a lot with, she is able to do activations, and you can watch them at any time and still get something from them. So it's really just us getting out of our, mortal bodies that are in fact aging, that we can be like, oh, I can be in multiple places. I can be multiple times. So yeah. Thanks for asking how I'm doing. Thank you. Let's see. Special accessories on the makeup. Love that. Somebody said your house is haunted. Me too. Cool. I'd say if anybody out there is trying to navigate living in a haunted space or working in a haunted space, do consider taking a consultation with Kat. I don't know if she's watching right now. She's Spooktastics. She is on my practitioners. She's a part of my practitioner people. She lived in a highly haunted house for a very long time and had to navigate that on her own. And you can talk with her, so you don't feel like you have to navigate it on your own. You can just talk to somebody who already has like a lot of answers and is just very good. So let's see. Let's see. I saw one. When did you realize you had unique abilities? What made you trust it? Okay, thank you for that question. Really, I spent more of my life trying to ignore what I was experiencing. And let me tell you, because I mentioned this today in a consultation, I used to look at mediums on like ghost paranormal shows and that sort of thing. And I was like, oh man, wouldn't it be cool to do that? I wish I could do that. All the while I'm trying to avoid the scary thing in the corner of the room that I'm watching the TV on. This was when I was growing up. There was a corner, it had some energy, it has some not great zhuzh. It's since been cleared up, but as a kid, I did not know that. But I would watch these shows and I'd be like, man, it'd be so cool to talk to ghosts. All the while I'm like, please don't look at me, sir, being thing. Like, yeah. So once again, I spent a lot of my life like acting like that wasn't a thing. Because also I connect a lot more with otherworldly beings. That includes spirit guides and ghosts. And I would look at some other mediums and be like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to talk to somebody's past loved one? Like, I wish I could do that. All the while, I was having connections with my past loved ones. It was a weird thing in my brain to sort of conceptualize, because I thought that in order to be a medium, you had to be strictly clairvoyant and clairaudient. So to be able to see with your physical eyes and to be able to hear with your physical ears. I didn't realize that there was so much more to perceiving than just that. So I totally beat myself up. I was just like, yeah, I mean, I saw my so-and-so past loved one, but I thought they were there, but if somebody asked me about it, I'd never admit to it, because I'd be like, oh, well, I didn't see them. I guess I didn't like see them, so I guess not. But really what I was doing was I was claircognizantly picking up on them, which is intuition. And then I was also clairsentiently picking up on them, which was picking up on the electromagnetic difference in the room when a spirit enters. Depends on the spirit, depends on the vibration, depends on the frequency, but that can happen. So yeah, as far as me getting over that, really, a lot of it has to do with all of you. I'm very fortunate in that. I started to, for a long time, I was just posting videos on like creepy content, and I was traveling a little bit. It was before pandemic, and I would tell ghost stories and share photos, and I would know things without having reason to know them intuitively on like spirits and stuff, but like I didn't talk about it. And then I started to talk to the spirits that were in my house. Jay was also having experiences. We would have people come over who they would have experiences and they wouldn't tell us about it until later, and then their experiences were lining up. So it turned into I guess I shouldn't doubt this anymore. This is actually happening. And that was if you've seen the recent video about the arc of all the spirits that I've shared on here, that was the bus stop house. There was just a lot going on there. And then I started to talk to George, and I was the weird one on the side of the street that was just kind of looking down, and I was like, hi, am I actually having a conversation right now? Because and just things sort of grew from there. But where everybody on TikTok came in, let's use George as an example, he was originally going to be 2 videos. Like, I had filmed both videos, and I was like, yeah, thank you for the likes, everybody. So yeah, I had filmed the first video and things totally took off. And I was like, whoa, nobody's called me crazy. That's nice. Because I was fully expecting it, and I've had that in time. But yeah, a lot of people just seemed so interested. So I was like, okay, well, I could share more of the things that happened with George. Like, that seems cool. George totally took off, went viral for that a few times. And then I was like, okay, do I talk about Rupert? So it just sort of came from there, and I've been so grateful to people's natural curiosity. I even get comments from people who are just like, yeah, I don't know if I believe you, but I really like the story. And I'm like, great. That's all I could ask for. Like, if my content is allowing somebody to be potentially open-minded even down the line, or let's say that they're having an experience later and they're like, oh, wait, I watched that one girl on TikTok and she said to do this, this, and this when I'm experiencing something, and they do it and they're less afraid. Great. fiction can be very powerful too. And it's when my book is published, and that's the Patrons will be the first to know about that as well. I'm so excited about that. I might be turning it into an audio play. I'm working on Jay with that. So, or like a kind of theatrical podcast sort of thing. Very excited. Anyway, I won't go off the rails on that. But when my book proper is published, you're going to find it in another fiction section. And it's going to start out with a preface from me that says, believe or don't believe, that's not the point. Like, if this helps, cool. Or if you just like the story and you find it interesting, cool. Like, I remember watching the Haunting of Hill House, the one that came out in like, 99, 2000 or something like that. And it was strangely relatable. And I knew it was fiction, but I was just like, wow, ghosts that you can actually talk with and you can actually assist and you can actually, be like have like past life connection and genetic connection and all of this stuff, and things can all sort of come together. I was like, isn't that cool? The idea that we actually have some kind of destiny while we're here. And yeah, it's fiction, but wow, that helped me now. So yeah, anyway, I'm so excited. Everybody's so excited. Oh, hey, Sarah. Will there be elements in the book? Be real from your experiences. Yes. Okay. So great question. Thank you. Sarah's one of my mods. She's also in the community group. Hello. Yeah. So here's the thing. The book will be written from my experience. It is autobiographical. It's entirely true to the best of my memory. And it's also entirely true to the best of Mary's memory, my past life, as well as the best of Rupert's memory. So yeah, it is true. However, I don't feel like the battle is worth it to, start holding up the book and being like, this is real, I'm talking with ghosts. Like, people will believe if they are inclined to do so. I never wanted to be on this platform to be like, you have to believe what I believe. No, you don't. I literally talked with somebody today in a consult, and they were like, I don't know if I believe everything, but I wanted to be open to this experience. And I was like, totally fine. Your experience is valid. And somebody asked, I didn't see the name, asked if the book has a title. It is called Imprints and Echoes. That'll be the first part anyway. Yeah. Well, thank you for watching the TikToks. That was to Scarlett. Thank you. And let's see. I'm looking at questions. Ooh, I love this question. Okay, so this is Ryo, if I'm pronouncing 99. Do spirits generally know you can see them when you cross paths, or are they surprised? So it depends. Sometimes it depends on their mental state, because yes, that's a thing. It's something to be afraid of. Keep in mind, I don't say any of this as you should be afraid of mental health after you go. No, you should live in your present and do whatever you can to help your mental health now. And understand that whatever you can do, so long as you're doing what you feel is your best, that's the best you can do. So please understand in that. So yeah, sometimes spirits won't see me because they're caught up in what they're doing, similarly to how alive people may not see you because they're caught up in what they're doing. Say they're on a phone call or something, they may not be as inclined to talk to you or something. Thank you for the likes, everybody. Again, I really appreciate that. So they could be doing that. They may not care. You can also shield so that they don't see you. That's another option as well. I was not told that is a possibility until I figured it out myself. I would go into situations and I'd be like, bam, I'm here. Like, I can see you. And they'd be like, I can see you. And it was just like, yeah. Well, that got overwhelming after a little while because it was like, you can see me? And then a lot of times, especially in places where the spirits are more desperate, we're talking ghosts here. We're not talking so much past loved ones, etc. They would all kind of be like, and I had to be like, okay. If they can create some kind of line that I can connect with and talk to, that's great. But yeah, you can shield from folks seeing you. And it's similarly to how you would shield in general. It's just a matter of being like, this is my shield, this is what it does, done and done. If you can see it or if you can perceive it, that's all you gotta do. Shielding is actually something that I'm going to be talking about in one of my upcoming courses on Patreon. That's going to come up not in January, looks to be about February. Diction? Because I think I'm going to do two course releases in January, just because I want to get those out. We're going to be talking about the Claire skills, and then we're going to be talking about games you can play for the Claire skills, because they shouldn't be intimidating. They're already yours, so play games. But yeah, shielding, I will be talking about perhaps in February. It's coming up. My favorite course that I'm going to be teaching is Types of Spirits. I'm very much looking forward to that one because it has gotten very broad over the years. But yeah, if you're wondering, the first course to go out, which will be Wednesday, which I'm super excited about, will be about mindfulness. And it's all about living in your present. And it's all little things you can do. And I say little things that you can do, not a 2-hour meditation or anything like that. Things that you can practice, things that you can even get faster at. And they're all ways to be in your present, because I'm of the belief that basically, and yes, I am in a tent. I'm of the belief that if you're having trouble being in your present, accepting all of who you are and accepting that you're doing the best at your time in your timeline, and that's entirely valid, then you can see the truth in others. I do readings where I will talk to spirits and they may not always tell the truth. And that's always an interesting vibe. It's something to be aware of, just similarly to how we may not always tell the truth. And one of the things that I've been working on my guides on is to be able to tell that in others. And the only way that I can do that is if I'm being honest with me first. So yeah, feeling present. That is the course number 1. It's going to be released on Patreon in 2 days. I'm so excited. So while I'm on the subject of Patreon, just I'll be talking about this further clarification as well. There is a releasing system on top of getting all of the reenactment skits in full, all at once, each month, usually about an average of twice a month. There is also, the first Wednesday is going to be a course that's going to be pre-recorded. It's going to have so many tips. This upcoming one is 50 minutes, and it goes into all the things that I'm asked all the time and all the things that I've gone over in consultations with people. So I'm bringing all that knowledge to others. And on the second Wednesday of each month will be a virtual ghost tour. I will go to the places and it'll be historically and spiritually led. So not only will I be giving the history, I'll also be giving what the general ghost stories are. And then I'll also be doing a live read, at least at the time live, on what I am picking up on. And the point of all that is for you, whenever you're watching, to do that read in your own time, in your own space, and see how things see how things line up. They may not always line up, and that's entirely fine, because remember, I may be picking up on something that's entirely different from what you pick up on, and that's entirely valid. Everybody's different. So, but for the things that we both can pick up on, that's pretty cool too. So that will be the second Wednesday, the live ghost tour, and then the third Wednesday of each month will be a Q&A. This will be a workshop style where we deconstruct how people are doing in the courses, what reads they got during the virtual ghost tour, and I really want to create more of a community with that group as well. So yeah, be a chance to meet people, have conversation. It'll be a much more smaller group comparatively to lives, and we'll be able to just kind of figure things out together. I'm super excited about that. And then of course, as far as posting, all of those will be private on Patreon. However, I'm still going to continue posting these lives onto YouTube, as well as other fun things. For example, Kat and I recently went to Charlottesville. We went to Monticello. We had a lot of feelings about Monticello. I'm going to be posting a YouTube about that. Yeah, learned a lot of history, and it totally matched the energetic vibes there. Both of us nearly got sick as soon as we were on the property. Which really was just a way for us to be like, we need to shield better because, wow, we have been to really haunted places before, but this is next level. So, and yes, we did meet Thomas Jefferson. Both the reenactor and the ghost, because he's there. The reenactor was very pleasant. The ghost was not stuck in time, except for here. But that'll be on YouTube. Anywho, let's see. Yeah, people ask if I've met famous people. I guess Thomas Jefferson's it. I want to meet up with a friend, Julie, you know who you are, in next time I'm up near the DC area and go to Mount Vernon. Meet Washington, because he's there. Yeah, it was quite the experience. Thanks for the likes and the gifts, everybody. I really appreciate it. And yes, I am in a tapestry fort. It is a blanket fort. I'm very happy about it. So, aloha from Oahu. I've been there before. Let's see. I haven't been on live in like 2 weeks because I was traveling last week. So happy to see you back. And remember, if you miss any of my lives, I post all of the recordings on YouTube later. So check that out. That's cool. Best kind of fort. Yeah, I highly suggest everybody make themselves a blanket or pillow fort. Does not matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what noises your bones make, your muscles make when you have to get down to this level. Doesn't matter. Do it anyway. You'll be happy. Watch movies, eat popcorn, be happy, have a soda, whatever, and just read. Like, look at this. This is so comfy. Do it. Do it. This is your sign from the universe. See, I don't do these videos. Your sign from the universe. Nope, this is your sign from the universe. If you want to make a blanket for it, you should. Thank you, Magic Weeb. I think that's what I'm saying. Yeah, the noises you make. The noises your bones make when you get down. Yeah, somebody was like, you're going to get old and you're not going to like getting down to the fort anymore. And I was like, do not put that on me. Age is an idea. And so long as I keep working out my knees and my ankles, I will make it work. So do not even make yourself a blanket fort. That's a sign from the universe. Somebody said asparagus. Edinburgh, cool. Hello. Age is an idea. Yes, it is. Hello, Canada. Yes, blanket forts quite literally never get old. Thank you. Does Jimothy like my fort? Oh, hi from Houston. Jimothy has not seen this fort yet. Wait, or has he? He didn't really acknowledge it. Because he popped down from the attic today. I think he was like getting something and then he checked in on something and then he left. He and Fanny, they're having a great time. They are spending a lot of time together and they take long walks and they're wonderful. And they are still here from time to time. They go elsewhere. They have their own little spirit space, which is lovely. They have a little cabin. And I say that in spirit space. It's not on our physical plane, but you find this with a lot of past loved ones. They have a spirit space, and it can sometimes be a place that they always enjoyed in the physical, maybe like a home, or like I've seen a lot of fishing spots, or some people make the retirement dream home that they always wanted, or some people have a house where they can fit all of their family. It's lovely. I love spirit space. That's not a technical term, by the way. It's just what I made up to make sense. So yeah, Fanny and Jimothy have their own spirit space cabin. And somebody asked, is it official? They're not seeing anybody else. I think that's, titles on the other side seem kind of funny, I guess. The whole death do you part sort of thing seems kind of weird when you're already in spirit. So I'll say they are exclusive. They're not seeing anybody else. Somebody asked if I'm still doing tours in Wilmington. Not publicly. I haven't done that in a few years. Pandemic was a bit hard. That was an understatement. Anyway, I made videos about it at the time. I'm not going to focus on it now. But I am doing more spiritually based tours as well as historical tours. I do my own research on these places, and I also talk to historians in town. And for that, that'll be one spot at a time, and it'll be on my Patreon. I did one that I did post part of it publicly. And then I did 2 others where I told stories. So if you want to look at stories from Wilmington, thank you for the rose, Deftones. Yeah, if you want to look at that, all of that is on YouTube. And it was a cool thing that my Patreons wanted to hear about my stories, not just the history of locations, but also the things that happened to me at the locations at different times of my spiritual development. Someone asked, how is George? He is in the underworld. It's funny you mention him. I mentioned him once tonight, but I was actually talking with my guide about that today, and we don't have to worry about him anymore. He's a shade. Shades, in case you were wondering, granted, it's important to note there are many different underworlds, there are many different places, and it's kind of like where your soul goes back to, but yeah, for the crimes that he did, George was just basically stripped of his personality, and he is just the basics of a soul, and he's a shade now. Look into Hellenistic mythology if you're interested in learning what those are. But when I tell you, he is no threat anymore. He is no threat anymore. I found that, and if anybody's out there like, will I turn into a shade? I wouldn't worry about it so much. From what I've seen, shades are pieces of people or beings that are no longer beneficial to keeping. So perhaps think of it less as an entire soul going down there and more of a unnecessary piece going down there. It's kind of like when we release bits of ourselves and we're just like, oh, I don't want that memory anymore. Maybe not memory, but I don't want that I don't want that energy anymore. I don't want that emotion anymore. Some of that can be done in emotion coding, which, by the way, if you're interested in emotion coding, Krista, who is on my website as well, she can help with that. And if you're wondering what that is, check out my website because it's really interesting. Or check out her page. I follow her as well, Krista Capers. But yeah, going back to shades, I wouldn't worry so much about it. He did a bad thing, and so he was taken away. He was just the wrong kind of person. What's the process of getting rid of negative, I guess, energy and then being a shade? So, in my experience, and I say that in my experience because I don't want anybody being like, she said it and that makes it real. Get curious, folks. Look for your own answers. But in my experience, energy can be shed when we're still in a physical form. As far as shades are concerned, that is once a soul has been released from their physical form. And if you're wondering how pieces of souls work, I've done a few videos on that. I have a few theories on that. How ghosts can exist, but then also a soul can move on. Ghosts may sometimes be considered shades, and they just haven't been put to another place. Yeah, it's interesting. The lines between this world and other worlds is just not as line-like as one might think. But yeah, and thank you for asking that question because I didn't want to confuse anybody on that. I was using a metaphor on like when you release energy, but when you're a soul out of your form and you're connecting with like your greater self and that kind of thing, that's when you get to be like, oh, that piece of me, do I need that for the next life? Do I need it ever? Just kind of that. That's a very basic way to describe that. A very basic way. I've done a lot of channeling on this subject because I am very curious. I've known of some mediums that like don't ask questions about everything in the beyond, and that's totally fine. I ask so many questions. My guides are like, what is it now? And I'm like, but I was thinking about this. And they're like, okay. And they always have to dumb it down for me because, yeah, they treat me like a kid sometimes. They're like, oh, what's the baby want? And I'm like, I'm not. I'm just a human. And they're like, we know. And I'm like, I have very otherworldly guides. Just throwing it out there. Not everybody's guides are like that. My guides are decidedly condescending sometimes, but it's not all the time. Not even going to get into it. Anyway, checking the messages. Let's see. Ines Midget asked, how do you communicate with your spirit guides? So far, you just talk out loud. Yep. Just start. I made a video not too long ago on my Q&A playlist about it. But yeah, just start. That's it. Ask for signs. Look for the signs. And don't expect the signs. Just understand that they will come in their own time. So, one instance am I burning? This was Egyptian jasmine. And my highest form of clairsalience, which is psychically smelling, is at the beginning of each day. I choose an incense stick by smelling each one and smelling the one that feels correct. So I've got a bunch down there. What if I lost all of my senses? Like all of my psychic senses? Then I would ask me what happened. I would say, how did I get in my way? I would go to therapy more because in my experience, when I've blocked my senses or I've overly shielded my senses, it typically has something to do with my mental health. It may not be that way with everybody, but I can specifically attribute my blocks to my fear and to my doubt over time. And now I get to unblock and unshield those things. So yeah, if that ever happened, I would go back to basis. I would go back to base and be like, okay, how am I doing? What am I up to? So this is part of what I work with a lot of people on in consultations, how to reopen. And it's always in a safe way. I don't pull shields off of people. I let them know that they have them in the first place. I can do readings on folks and kind of read down their energy with their consent. I always do that with their consent. Thank you for the rose. I see your name. I laugh, black bass, bit of it's hey 5. That's what I saw. But yeah, I can go down energetically from afar because all my readings are virtually because why would I leave this? And thank you for the gifts. Yay. But yeah, I can go down a person's energy and figure out where things are sticky. I can work with them to remove stuff. But what I always do when I'm working with somebody is just that. I work with them. I do not take things from them. I do not say goodbye. I say, all right, we're going to do this together. Why do I do this? So that you know that you are capable of doing it on your own when you figure out what is going on. I don't want to gatekeep this stuff. That really makes me angry when people are like, you're born with it or you're not. Why would you say that to somebody? You know, I look at it like playing basketball. Why would you look at somebody and be like, oh, you have short fingers, you can't play basketball? I'm from the school of watch me. So yeah, can mediums be drawn to other mediums? Sure, why not? I have a lot of friends who are mediums. I have a lot of friends who are not. I have friends who are spiritually sensitive. I have friends who are atheists. That's the beauty of it. I like to surround myself with a lot of different people, so long as we can all be respectful of each other's beliefs and we can talk about other things. Cool. That's another thing. There was this, because I think some of that too, there was this mentality for a while, and I don't know if it's still a thing, of witches can't be friends with other witches. Which, if anybody out there was like, what? Yeah, me too. I was just like, why? I think anybody can be friends with anybody. There was like a lot of folks feeling like, especially in the witch community, that they had to be the only one. And I'm glad that that's breaking now. And you know what's wild? I think TikTok helped to break it, because you had a lot of energy coming in of people being like, I don't know, but I want to learn and I want to make friends. Great. That's what we should have been doing all along. I think about witches through history, and there's usually like a little band of them together. Regardless of what you believe in, regardless of what you practice, find people who activate you. Spirit guides can come in a physical form. They do not all have to be in spirit. Your soul family may meet you in physical form, and they can help you grow. So yes, be friends with mediums, witches, other religions, other practices, because you will learn things from each other. And I think it's super important. I regularly, sometimes if I'm channeling something big, like an energetic shift or something that's going on, I will text my, medium psychic friends, and I'll be like, hey, could you channel on this subject? I've already got an answer, but I'd like to check it with you. I think about, for example, Emily, who's liker of words, we do this. She works with Apollo. I do not. I work with Hermes, and I work with Hecate or Hecate. And Hermes goes in between. Hecate is underworld. And so if I'm channeling something and I'm kind of connected with my folks, I will write it down and I'll be like, okay, so I'm getting this. And I won't tell Emily, I won't prime her, which granted I'm sure I could, and she'd be able to compartmentalize it just fine, to not let it affect the answer that she gets. But I will do that, and I'll just be like, hey, this date, sort of this, what are you getting on that? So what I love is she works with somebody from Olympus. So we've got two very different folks that we are working with. And especially Hermes is also in between too. So like when we can get the same answer, wow, like bam, that's psychic stuff. I do the same thing. Kat, I regularly do this with. Sorsha, I regularly do this with. I regularly do this with Jay as well. Where I'll be like, hey, I'm getting something. Can you do a reading on it? I'm not going to tell you what I got. That's how you work with others. And that's why I see this as spiritualism, regardless of how you do things, who you believe in, so long as you don't put that practice on somebody else, but you're still able to get a clear channel. Why wouldn't you work with others? Work with others. I can't say that enough. We need that right now. We need that. And that's why I created the online group that I created through Patreon, because there are folks all over the place who are learning and growing. And I've encouraged people to start meeting people from the group in person, or at least having DMs with that. And there have been some wonderful friendships that have come out of that. People who I've talked to who are like, well, I met this person, they were only 2 hours away, and I feel like I was supposed to meet them. And they feel the same way. And I'm like, that's it. That's what I'm talking about. That right there. I want people to meet each other. I created the group not so that I could sit on top. I created the group so that people could talk to each other and they could meet each other. Because the reality is, we are not alone. We are not alone in this. That is super important. We are not alone. We can feel a lot less alone, even if it's just texting somebody else. So that's why I created that group. I kept meeting more and more people in consultations who were like, I feel like I'm the only open-minded spiritualist where I live. And I was like, well, you're not the only open-minded spiritualist on earth. Get ready. Here we go. So, are the spirits that are in most of my videos with me now? Thank you for that question. Jimothy's gone. I think Fanny's at the shop right now, so I don't feel like they're together. Oh, she might be talking with Molly. That's nice. Let's see. Jimothy's somewhere. Who else? Rupert might be back with Kat right now. He was hanging out with her this afternoon. It was funny because she and I were FaceTiming and Rupert was like, I want to go over there. And I was like, okay, it's not the first time. He's been there plenty of times. Like, we are all friends together. This is what we do. Just like Arnold has visited me, and same thing with Sorsha. Like, there are times when it's just like, they're like, I want to go over there, but I don't want to just show up. Can I have permission? So I'm like, but yeah, they were, he was watching her draw today. Not in a creepy way or anything, but he was just interested in what she was doing. So, yeah. But yeah, the house is pretty quiet right now. One of Jay's folks are with him right now. She's chilling out. Feels like, well, if you see the video where I describe our various connections with spirits, you'll see her. Okay, now I'm picking up on, there's a greenhouse on the other block. Ooh, they're not angry about them cutting down the trees. I was angry about them, or they are angry about them cutting down the trees. New owners, they cut down these 2 huge, beautiful trees. And yes, they could have taken down some power lines and potentially hurt the house if they fell. But they were so big and beautiful, and they were healthy and good, and it took them 2 days to shred up 2 trees, and it was so loud. But somebody's in that house right now. They're not happy about that. I don't think they like the new owners. Anyway, if you're wondering how I'm doing this, I'll talk about this more in my courses on Patreon when I release them. It's kind of like, for lack of better word, psychic sonar. I can do this from anywhere in the world, though basically what I did just now was I was here and I just sort of went out and out and out and out and out. If I'm doing this in a different place in the world, if I'm talking to a person, I will use their energy and go out around them. Or if I am looking at a space, I will use the energy of the space itself and go out. The way that I do it, this is something that I learned, I talked about it a little bit earlier today in the live. I specifically do it in a way that is observation only. It is not meant for them to be able to see me. Now, if it is a higher level spirit, they may pick up on it, but typically ghosts will not, and that's because what I'm doing is by design. I didn't know I could do that until I figured out I had to. Because not everybody wants to talk to somebody, so I always want to be respectful of that. But it's similarly to, you know, if you're walking on the street and you look towards somebody's house and you see them walking by the window, it's the same concept. It's not like crazy invasive. Like, as I mentioned, I picked up on the anger of that person, but I'm not doing like a full read on them because they don't know me, and I don't want them to be upset that like I'm looking in their house, so to speak. So I'm just kind of like, oh, they're there. I feel that, we're good. So yeah. So one thing, Lovely Rose, I believe, 93. So if you want to consider my first Patreon course, which is going to be released on Wednesday, it's being in your present. That's how to help slow down how fast thoughts are coming. I know how you feel. I used to have really high anxiety. I was thinking all the time, and I was overthinking, and the wheels were spinning and spinning and spinning, and like it felt like they never stopped. And I know exactly what you feel like, where it's just like my brain won't stop. I can't channel. It took time. I had to slow it down, and honestly, the pandemic helped with that, and it was very hard. All of my work slowed up, and I had been a workaholic for years, and I still describe myself as a recovering workaholic, because I always want to do my best. And when everything slowed down, I felt like a failure, and then a bunch of other things that I had been running from for years all came back, and I got to do shadow work on the roof of the bus when I lived in the bus. So it all caught up, and I was finally able to be present. I just let it catch up in a safe place. And through my experience, I'm now sharing how I did that. I deconstructed it, and I offer a lot of different tools on how to feel present, and all of it's feeling present, because I think meditation can get a very bad rep sometimes, because we're all like, man, how do I clear my mind? You know, when it starts off with the music and it's like, clear your mind. What am I meditating for? I'm meditating to clear my mind. You're kidding me, right? I find a lot of meditations that they're not working for most people. Sometimes they do, and that's wonderful and beautiful. And if classic style meditation works for you, I'm so happy for you. For other people, we need a little extra something else. And I have it's over 50 minutes, the course, where it's all these different practices. I don't lead you through anything. The whole purpose of it is for you to lead yourself, because the reality is we all need to be leading ourselves. There will be times where you won't have a meditation track in front of you and you got to lead yourself. So all of it's done with the intention of like, hey, consider this. Are you feeling like this? Consider this. It's also mental health practices. It's the same stuff that I work on or have worked on in therapy, where it's like preventative measures you can take to not let the words totally go crazy in your head. Preventative measures you can take to not feel as depressed. Now, granted, I'm not going to sit here and be like, meditation heals depression. Everybody has different depression, and that's entirely valid. And I am currently doing a lot of preparatory work to handle SAD this year. It comes around. I always know it does. It's just, I've got to do my checklist of what all can I do to feel okay. I think everybody should have a checklist like that, even if it's something small. Sometimes I color for hours, and it doesn't hurt anybody. Certainly doesn't hurt me, but it just allows me to just, and that's what I need. So yeah, that will be released soon. Thanks for all the likes and everything. Got a lot of comments on that. Thank you. Yay. I'm glad that, thank you for all the kind words, everybody. That's a great question. Will the spirit mental work we do now help us when we transition? Yes. Live in your present. Live in your present at any given time. Thank you for all the roses, everybody. Thanks for the likes too. I am of the belief that the best thing we can do at any given time is to live in our present. And I don't want to sound like a broken record on that. And that's why I made an entire course about it. I am of the belief that if we feel like we've done all that we wanted to do and we can just have peace with that when we pass, it's a lot less easier on the other side, because we get to just not have so much brain fog and be like, oh, okay, this is, that's what it is. That doesn't mean you achieved everything you wanted to. That doesn't mean you saw all your dreams, got rich, had a great retirement, blah, blah, blah. Like, those are all great things. At the end of the day, though, it's just you in front of a mirror. It's nothing else. It's not all the stuff. It's just you. And so the better equipped you can be to just look at yourself in the mirror and be like, that's me. That's me. Just like that. You don't have to be like, I'm the best or what. Cool if you can say that, please. But yeah, it's just the balanced feeling is just being able to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, I've done all I can today. That's it. So yeah, granted, I always have to say, everybody's in their own journey. So once you get over there, just see what happens. I'd say connect with what feels right for you. For me, it's connecting with spirit guides. It's connecting with ghosts. It's connecting with deities. It's connecting with my past loved ones. All the same, though, at some point or another, it's just that, okay, what's going to happen is going to happen. Can't do anything about it. I've done my best. So, yeah. Cool. Well, I have been on here an hour, and I think that is a good time to thank you all. So remember, the courses, the workshops, the classes, all of that, eventually the audiobook and the book will all be on my Patreon. And thanks all for joining. This is going to be on YouTube later. All these links are in my bio. I mentioned jewelry with Lala Lotus. I mentioned other readers on my reader team. That is all in my bio. And I look forward to the next live. There will be a live on the winter solstice, as is tradition. I'm super excited for that. So much has changed in the last year. I'm it's so crazy to think how much has changed. In a great way, I'm just like trying to keep up, you know what I mean? So yeah, thanks everybody for joining, and I wish you all a great night, morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you may be. I will see you next time. And now I get to figure out how to end this again. Yeah.